So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought, corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all.
This is my video update on this Thursday afternoon, February the 15th. Let's talk about some news. And what should we talk about today? What is the big story for this Thursday? How about Mike Turner, the House representative from Ohio, a Republican from Ohio, who notified the President of the United States, the Congress, that Russia is up to no good. And this could be a national security threat to the United States of America. What is the Putin up to? What is the Putin up to that can warrant such alarm? Everyone in DC yesterday was in a panic because of the intel that Mike Turner had disclosed. And according to ABC News, this is what the Putin is up to. Republican warning of national security threat is about Russia wanting nuke in space. Lawmakers said the issue is serious, but shouldn't cause immediate alarm. Two sources familiar with deliberations on Capitol Hill said the intelligence has to do with the Russians wanting to put a nuclear weapon into space. This is not to drop a nuclear weapon onto Earth, but rather to possibly use against satellites. Wow. That's some pretty serious stuff. Some very serious stuff. How is the Putin pulling all of this off? How is he able to possibly get nuclear weapons in space that are going to shoot down satellites? Boom, boom, bam, bam. Knock down all of those satellites. How is he doing it? The chips from the washing machines? Has he figured out some shovel technology? How is he doing it? I don't know how the Putin is pulling all of this off. I really do not know. But, the Express.co.uk, they put out an article yesterday saying humiliated Putin forced to throw relics into war as nearly all tank force obliterated. During the war in Ukraine, Russia lost more than 3,000 tanks, the equivalent of its entire pre-war active inventory, according to a study. What is the Putin up to? I can't figure it out. He's throwing into battle these old tank relics. He's lost 3,000 tanks. He's having to use old, very old tanks in order to fight the NATO proxy war, but yet somehow he's getting nukes into space. Can't figure it out. I really cannot figure it out, but this is a big deal. This is a very, very big deal. Good on Mike Turner for disclosing this national security threat. This is very important news. Very, very important news, though I believe Speaker Johnson did say, as ABC News reported, there is no immediate threat, but this is important stuff. The Pentagon, they need to keep an eye on the nuclear washing machine chip weapons that are going to knock down these satellites. Interestingly enough, this news came out right at the same exact time that the Senate passed the Ukraine funding bill, and that's what I'm going to call it, the Ukraine funding bill, the $61 billion to Ukraine. The Senate passed this bill. They're sending it to the House. Speaker Johnson is under a whole lot of pressure to put this bill to a vote in the House. And right at the same time that you have all this pressure falling on House Speaker Johnson and Republican House members who are against this $61 billion to Ukraine, you get this this intel report from Mike Turner. Coincidence. It's just coincidence. I'm sure it has nothing to do with trying to get the $61 billion to the Zelensky regime. And you know what's even more interesting? Mike Turner was actually in Kiev like 5-6 days ago. How about that? How about that? Mike Turner and a whole bunch of House representatives, a whole entourage, they traveled to Kiev to meet with the Zelensky regime 5 days ago. Coincidence? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? I'm sure that Mike Turner, he's very concerned about the satellites being knocked down by Russian nukes. I'm sure this has nothing to do with his trip to Kiev. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the $61 billion vote to the House. Who knows? Maybe Mike Turner, maybe he's under the spell of Zelensky number 5. Maybe he traveled to Kiev. He got a whiff of that Zelensky number 5, and then Zelensky, he ordered Turner go back to the U.S. and tell Speaker Johnson that the Russians are going to put satellites in space and put nukes in space and knock down your satellites, and get me that $61 billion, Mike Turner. And Turner was like, yes, Volodymyr, yes, give me some more of that intoxicating scent, that Zelensky number 5. Okay, Mike Turner, you go back to America and you tell Speaker Johnson, the Putin, he put nuke in space and he shoots satellites. Boom, boom, bam, bam, bing, bang, boom, bang, bing. And you make sure that Speaker Johnson give me $61 billion. I have many homes to buy. Yes, Volodymyr. Yes, but only if you promise to give me some of that Zelensky number 5. That smell, it's intoxicating. So that was the big story yesterday. That really was the big story yesterday. This is not a clown world. This is real news. Real news. So CIA director, former CIA director Brennan, real nice guy, that Brennan, huh? Really nice guy, very likable character. The CIA director under Obama. Well, news came out that he ordered the Five Eyes to spy on Trump in 2016. Pre-2016, post-2016, he got the Five Eyes, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. He got them Canada. He got them all to start spying on Trump's team, on all of Trump's team, all of the people close to Trump, so that they can start to build the Russiagate narrative. Interesting news, huh? Here's a tweet from Colin Rugg. Report: the CIA urged foreign spy agencies to spy on 26 Trump associates leading up to the 2016 election. The operation conveniently led to allegations that the Trump campaign was colluding with Russia. Former CIA Director John Brennan helped whip up the plan and shared his targets to the intel organizations in the U.S., United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, according to Schellenberger. This was a study by Schellenberger and Taibbi. The development is significant considering the U.S. government claimed it was notified by other agencies that Trump was colluding with Russia, when in reality, the U.S. government masterminded it, according to the report. What an interesting piece of news, huh? What an interesting piece of news. Taibbi, Schellenberger, and Alex Gutentag, the people behind the Twitter files, they published the first part of an investigation on Tuesday into which they claim the so-called Five Eyes were operationalized against Trump staffers, citing anonymous sources close to the House Intelligence Committee. They were making contacts and bumping Trump people going back to March 2016, said a committee source. They were sending people around the UK, Australia, Italy, the Mossad in Italy. MI6 was working at an intelligence school they had set up, the journalists claim. So something tells me that this is where Professor Mifsud appeared magically. This is where Professor Mifsud was conjured up, and who else? And what's his name? Alexander Downer or Downing? Alexander Downer. I'm sure this is where he came into the picture, and Stefan Halper, the professor, where was he, at Cambridge or Oxford? Something tells me that that's where all these characters were put into operation. Oh, that Brennan. I believe CNN, they rewarded Brennan, didn't they, with like a contract to be to appear on CNN. Was it Brennan or was it the other guy? I forgot the other guy's name at the NSA. What was his name? Also a real nasty character, a real nice guy. The guy that lied under oath, that said that the U.S. isn't spying on citizens. I forgot his name. It was Brennan and Clapper. Clapper? Yeah, I think Clapper. Yeah. Real nice fellas, huh? Rule of law, democracy, the international rules-based order, Five Eyes spying on Trump. And now you know why the deep state is going to do everything they can in their power to make sure that Trump does not become president. And now you know why the UK and Australia and New Zealand and Canada and all the Five Eyes, why they also hate Trump so much, why they will also help the deep state to make sure that Trump does not win the election in 2024. Because they know that if Trump were to win, then perhaps all of their intrigues might be exposed. And from what I understand, there's like a dossier from this report from Taibbi and Schellenberger. There's a dossier which has like all of this information, all of this classified information, and Trump wanted this stuff to go to the public, to be declassified, and no one knows where this dossier is. Like, they're looking for this dossier. The deep state, the three-letter agencies, they're looking for this dossier. And the rumor, and this is just a rumor, is that that is why the FBI, they raided Mar-a-Lago. They were looking for this dossier that implicates the permanent state and the Five Eyes. So I don't know, maybe Trump has that dossier hidden away somewhere. I don't know. It's a possibility. It really is a possibility. You know, something interesting happened yesterday. The Washington Post reported that Lindsey Graham is now against the $60 billion to Ukraine. Isn't that interesting? And this is what the Washington Post reported. Lindsey Graham, a longtime foreign policy hawk, bows to Trump on Ukraine. The shift sends another warning sign to U.S. allies about the isolationist posture spreading within the Republican Party. So the article claims that Lindsey Graham had a meeting with Trump in January, and that's when Lindsey Graham changed his mind on Ukraine, the biggest neocon war hawk in all of the world. One of the biggest neocon war hawks in all of the world is suddenly against the $60 billion to Ukraine, allegedly after he met with Trump. I wonder if this has anything to do with this Brennan spying on Trump dossier news. I don't know. I have no idea. The Washington Post, I think the Washington Post claimed that Lindsey Graham is doing this because Trump is going to offer him a position in his administration, but I don't know. Something tells me that a whole lot of stuff is going on. A whole lot of interesting stuff is going on, and I think Trump is starting to move some chess pieces slowly. He's starting to move some pieces around, and this is freaking out the permanent states. This is really freaking them out, and it's freaking out the Five Eyes, the international, the coalition, the U.S.'s international partners. It's really freaking them out as well. That's why Trump is also talking so much smack about NATO. Trump is up to something. That would be my guess, but who knows? I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. So Putin, he gave an interview to Pavel Zarubin. Zarubin is the journalist that covers Putin the most, I would say. He's Putin's favorite journalist. Whenever Putin goes to events or gives speeches, attends conferences, travels abroad, he's always giving interviews to Pavel Zarubin. And Pavel Zarubin, he does a great job of documenting Putin, really. That's what he's doing. He's interviewing Putin. He's documenting everything that Putin is saying. He's giving him good questions about what's going on in the world. And you can tell that Putin feels very comfortable talking to Zarubin. Anyway, Putin was at an event in Moscow, I believe something for, something about future technologies event. And he sat down with Zarubin on the sidelines of this event. And they talked about, mostly about the Tucker Carlson interview. Not only about the Tucker Carlson interview, but, Putin gave his thoughts about the interview with Tucker Carlson. And he said some interesting things. He said some very interesting things. The most interesting thing that he said during this interview is not so connected to Tucker Carlson, actually. But let me tell you what he said about the Tucker Carlson interview. He said that Tucker Carlson is dangerous, but in a good way. He said it in a good way. Quote, "I think your Carlson, I say yours, since he's a member of your profession, is a dangerous man. I thought he would be aggressive, ask me sharp questions. I was not just ready for that. I wanted that so I could give equally sharp answers," Putin explained, but he chose a different tactic. And Putin basically says that Carlson listened to him. He was patient. He didn't try to interrupt him. And he allowed Putin to talk. And for Putin, that was very different. For him, it's like, wow, a Western journalist is actually allowing me to talk. And I think that kind of threw Putin off, which is a very interesting comment. He's used to having Western journalists like international correspondent and very sophisticated journalist, Christiane Amanpour, sitting down with him and trying to catch him with all these gotcha questions and trying to make Putin look bad and being very aggressive with Putin. And that's what he's been used to over the many, many years, over the decades. But this time around, he actually sat down with a Western journalist who was like, "Speak, Mr. President of Russia. We want to hear what you have to say." And he was patient, and he let Putin speak. And that caught Putin off guard. So that was an interesting comment from Putin. In a way, a compliment to Tucker, I would say. It's kind of a compliment to Tucker. But he also said this during the interview, which is freaking out the Biden White House in a big way. It's freaking out the collective West media that supports the Biden White House in a big way. He was asked about who he prefers, Trump or Biden. And Putin said that he prefers Biden. He said Biden is a more experienced and predictable person. He is a politician of the old sort. But we will work with any leader who gets the confidence of the American people. He was also asked about Biden's gaffes and the fact that Biden's getting up there in age. And Putin said, "So what if he whacked his head coming out of a helicopter? Who among us hasn't hit his head on a helicopter? Let him cast the first stone," Putin said. "I'm not a doctor." Yes, he was asked about Biden's cognitive ability and his motor skills and all of that stuff. And interesting comment from Putin. Everyone hits their head on a helicopter. Who hasn't hit their head on a helicopter? Happens to me all the time. Let he who has not hit their head on a helicopter cast the first stone. That's a funny comment from Putin. What a strange comment. But yeah, Biden and his cognitive abilities and his refusal to take a cognitive test. Joe Bidenopoulos. For which I say, Biden should not take a cognitive test. He absolutely should not take a cognitive test. He doesn't need to. You're talking about a man who can speak to dead people. If anything, as I said in the previous video, doctors and scientists, they need to study and research Biden, because this type of superpower could be very powerful. This type of superpower, if it can be harnessed to speak to people of the past, people that have passed away, people from the great beyond, to be able to break that barrier, I think is something that the Pentagon and the U.S. military and scientists at the Pentagon absolutely need to research and study and try to figure it out. So Biden doesn't need a cognitive test. They need to study this gift that he has. That's what they need to do. That's just my opinion. But anyway, let's continue with Putin. Putin also talked about Trump's statement about NATO. And he said that Trump has a certain logic, Putin said, but so does the position of the European countries used to live under the U.S. nuclear umbrella with no questions asked. Putin said NATO is an instrument of U.S. foreign policy, and if the U.S. decides it no longer has use for it, that's Washington's prerogative, Putin said. Let them sort it out themselves. Yeah, let them sort it out themselves. Russia's already got NATO and NATO expansionism and NATO's aggressive attitude towards Russia. They've already got that baked in the cake, as far as their military doctrine and their military posture. So he's like, let Trump and the European leaders, if Trump were to become president, let them sort it out. I don't give an F. We're just going to assume that NATO wants to go to war with us and NATO wants to break us up, and that's going to be our position. And whether it's Trump or Biden or Obama or Bush or Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom or whoever, or Kamala Harris, we'll just assume that NATO is going to continue to pressure us. So that was his statement on NATO. But I think the most interesting comment that Putin made had to be the Minsk agreements and Germany and France, and how Russia, if they only knew how deceitful and what a bunch of liars Merkel and who was it back then? Merkel, Hollande, and Macron. I think it was Hollande and then Macron. But if they had only recognized what a bunch of liars Merkel, Hollande, and Macron were, then they would have acted with regards to NATO and Ukraine and the situation developing much earlier. This is what Putin said about the Minsk agreements. It turned out later that we were being deceived in this regard because both the former German Chancellor and the former President of France admitted straightforwardly in public that they never planned to fulfill the agreements. Instead, they were buying time to deliver more weapons to the Kiev regime, which is exactly what they did, the Russian leader said on Wednesday. Let's see, how am I doing on time? Doing all right. I thought that was a really interesting comment. If they didn't trust Merkel and Hollande and Macron, then the Russians would have done something about Ukraine much earlier. An interesting admission from Putin. It also signals that Putin is done with France and Germany and Europe in general, the European Union. It shows once again that Russia's just done with these guys because they're liars. They can't keep their word. They can't honor an agreement that they're signatories to, and they're just deceitful. They're deceitful, and they brag about it too. And I think that really upset Putin. I think that really got to Putin. I mean, it kind of got to me in a way as well. Anyone that's been following the Minsk agreements over the many years to know, that the West was not going to honor the Minsk agreements. You had that feeling, okay, they're not going to honor it. But when Merkel comes out and says it, and and she says it 3 times over and over again that, our goal was to con the Russians so we can buy time in order to weaponize Ukraine. When she comes out and says it on multiple occasions, that's when you're like, dude, these people, these leaders in the West, they are nasty. They are absolutely nasty. You can't trust them. You just can't trust them. I mean, when a leader of a country, a former leader of a country, comes out and says, I signed up to this agreement, but it was all done in deceit, and my main goal was to go to war with Russia and break up Russia and remove Putin, the very man that I was sitting across the table from. My goal was to regime change him. So I signed up to this to buy time. That's just wrong, man. That really tells you the type of leaders that the West has, the type of leaders that Germany has. Scholz is no better than Merkel. He's just a lot dumber. Merkel was deceitful, but she was clever. Olaf Scholz is just, I don't know if you guys caught that sound effect. He's Anyway, interesting comments from Putin. Very interesting comments from the Russian president. Let's see, before I get to my clown world, do I have anything else to talk about? Yeah, the Financial Times. Putin says he prefers Joe Biden over Donald Trump in U.S. elections. Comments come after the U.S. president urges Congress to back aid for Ukraine war effort against Russia. You know what Putin should do, and Zakharova? You should compliment Biden as much as possible, just to troll him. We really hope that Biden wins. Can you imagine if they troll the Biden White House like that? I mean, everyone's going to know they're trolling, but it's still going to drive them crazy. It's going to absolutely drive them crazy. If every couple of weeks they come out with a statement saying that they really hope that Biden pulls off an election win, it's going to drive the Biden White House mad. And every now and then they should say how awesome Ursula is. Thank you, Ursula, for another sanctions package and pushing our GDP up another couple of percentage points. Because Ursula and the EU, they're about to launch a 13 sanctions package. And get this, in this 13 sanctions package, the EU now thinks it's going to be a good idea to sanction China and India. Three Chinese companies and one Indian company. They're going to sanction them because they're helping deliver the shovels and the washing machine chips that are allowing the Putin to send nuclear weapons up to space to shoot down American satellites. No more Netflix for the U.S. He's going to shoot down the Netflix or the Disney satellite, the Netflix satellite. Google Maps. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be the 13th sanctions package. Is going to actually now sanction not Russia, but China and India. And China's like, yeah, you go ahead, European Union. You just go ahead and sanction our companies and just wait. Just wait. But man, what a bad idea that is to sanction China and India. Really bad idea. Anyway, how about Macron? Did you guys hear the news that, and these are kind of rumors, I guess. Actually, they're not even rumors. I think French TV actually reported on this. And now they've tried to bury it, to scrub it and bury it, the reporting that they put out on this story. But Macron, I talked about how Macron was supposed to be in Odessa and then Kiev to get a whiff of that Zelensky number 5. And he had to cancel that trip. And they never really explained why he canceled it. But I believe French TV, I forgot the channel, but French TV said that the trip was canceled because there was some assassination attempt. There was some sort of plot or intrigue to take Macron out and to blame it on Russia. And this was being hatched by Budanov. Did you guys hear about that? I was kind of makes sense, actually. It does kind of line up. But anyway, that's a rumor. But from what I understand, French TV actually reported on this, and now they're saying, no, we never said such a thing, and they're trying to scrub it off the internet, and they're trying to cover up. Why would you want to cover up for a government and an intel agency in Ukraine that is looking to to take out your president. Why would you want to cover up for these guys? That's pathetic, man. That is really pathetic. Uh, anyway, Tucker Carlson, he put out a video from a Russian grocery store and from the Russian metro, and everyone on Twitter is freaking out. The Russia haters, well, the Russia haters are freaking out. People that have gone to Moscow and know what life is like, they're like, yeah, Moscow is a premier city. If not one of the top, I would say that Moscow is one of the top 5 cities to live in the world as far as, like all the metrics: quality of life, safety, cleanliness, things to do, ease of getting around, beauty of the city and the architecture and all these things. Yeah, absolutely. It's a premier city. And even the cost for a premier city, even the cost of Moscow is pretty good, given that it is a premier city. But Tucker Carlson also came to that understanding from being in Moscow. He went to the grocery store and he bought a whole bunch of groceries. He didn't look at the price. Him and his team were like, we're just going to fill up our cart. And they were like, okay, this is probably about $400 worth of groceries in the U.S. And then they ended up paying, and it was something like 9,000 rubles, like $100, like $105. And Tucker was like, this is very eye-opening. We're getting all of this quality food. And in the U.S., this would cost $400. And here in Moscow, a big major city, it's $100. And he was like, the grocery store. It's like, look at the grocery store. It's nice. It's got everything. And then he showed the metro. And people flipped out. People on Twitter that hate Russia, they really flipped out. They're like, oh, yeah, well, this metro is nice. But what about the other metros? Oh, yeah, there's no crime in the metro, but I'm sure there's crime in other places. So they were like coping really, really hard. And he picked Kievskaya metro, which is a beautiful metro, by the way. But he picked Kievskaya to show, which I think is an interesting choice. I think Tucker did that on purpose. Here's my theory on this. And maybe I'm thinking about this too much. Maybe he just picked this metro because it was close to his hotel, or he just picked it at random. But my thinking is that he picked Kievskaya in order to make a point. And I think the point is, the Russians aren't trying to erase the history that Kiev played in Russian history and Russian culture. But Ukraine is trying to erase the history of Russia, of all of Russia, the entire 1,000+ year history. And I say that because just the other day, and I wonder if Tucker saw this story, but just the other day it was reported that the Tolstoy metro in Kiev is being renamed. And there were videos of the workers in the metro, and they were taking down the metro signs of Tolstoy, and they were going to call it something like the metro to the glory of our heroes or something like that. Like renaming the metro from Tolstoy to something else. I think Tucker picked Kievskaya to make a point that the Russians, they accept their history. They accept their history. They understand it. They learn about it. And they don't try to erase it. They don't try to erase it. They don't try to demolish it. And I think that was the point he was making. Anyway, I could be overthinking this one. Lloyd Austin is back. And he is back to work. And he put out a video talking about Russia's imperialist goals, and as long as it takes, and we will stand by Ukraine forever and ever, ever, forever, ever, forever, ever, ever. We're going to stand by Ukraine. That's what Austin said. And I just thought it was an interesting video because here you have the defense secretary, and he's making these statements to like other defense secretaries in the U.S. coalition, this contact group that they have for Project Ukraine. And, a defense secretary with an American flag, yes, but a Ukraine flag, really? Isn't that a bit odd, everybody? I mean, yeah, you should have the American flag in back of you, but why would you have the flag of any other country in back of you? I just don't get it. It goes in line with wearing a Ukraine pin if you're a government official, a very high-ranking government official. Why would you wear the flag pin of another country? Why would you have a Ukraine flag in your office? Even if the flag was just put there for the meeting, still, if you have the defense minister of Ukraine visiting you in the office, then yes, you put out that country's flag if they're there on an official diplomatic visit. But if you're just doing a Zoom call, a video call, and you're in your office, why would you have any other flag than the United States flag? And if you're in the UK, you're going to have the UK flag. And if you're in France, you're going to have the French flag. I mean, I don't know. Really, really don't know. I mean, I do know, but it's just so, this obsession is so bizarre. It really, really is bizarre. But, Ukraine for many decades was like parents giving their kids a debit card and saying just buy whatever you want. That was Ukraine for all of these guys for many decades. And now when the parents say, yeah, we're taking back that debit card, the kids are like, what are you talking about? I was able to live a really good life. I was buying this and that, and no one knew anything about it. And now the Putin came and he ruined it for us. That's pretty much what they're saying. Give us back our debit card. There's a company in Norway and Finland. The company is called Ammo, I believe. Nammo, Nammo, I think is the name of the company. And they announced that they're going to be making weapons. I thought I had it bookmarked. But obviously I didn't. Oh no, I did. Yeah, Nammo, Finland, Norway. They announced they're going to be making weapons 24/7. Ammunition, 155 ammo, 24/7 for Project Ukraine. But I don't know if it's really about Project Ukraine. It's probably more about an eventual war with Russia, or maybe having the citizens of Finland and Norway believe that there's going to be a potential war with Russia. One or the other. Either Europe is planning for a war with Russia in 5 years, and the U.S. is telling Europe, you're going to destroy yourself. Europe, you are going to destroy yourself on the rock that is the Russian Federation. And the leaders of Europe are like, sure, why not? Or they're doing this just to funnel more money into the MIC and to scare their citizens and to get more control centralized to them, because the citizens are afraid and they're scared, and this gives them more power. I don't know. It's either one or the other. It could be both. They could be doing this for optics and in order to centralize more power and to get more money to the MIC and to keep their citizens scared. But once you head down this path, it could morph into an actual hot war without them wanting it. But who knows? Anyway, I thought that was an interesting story. 24/7. Finland and Norway. The company is Nammo, 155 ammunition. And one more story before I get to a clown world. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up this video. Zaluzhny is joining, or has joined. It looks like he has joined Poroshenko's political party. Interesting development. There's his card, his political party card that is floating around the interwebs, showing Zaluzhny is now a member of the Chocolate Kings party, which would signal that Poroshenko and Zaluzhny and Klitschko, they could be preparing to make their move very, very soon. We will see. Perhaps they're going to make their move when Zelensky goes to the Munich Security Conference taking place this weekend. Maybe when Zelensky is gone, they're going to make their move for power. I don't think so. It's too soon. But it looks like they are going to prepare something, or they are preparing for something. Anyway, let's do a clown world, and we will wrap this video up. And this clown world is a Valentine's Day clown world. Yes, it is. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. This is a love story, everybody. It is a love story. Oh, by the way, check out this Spectator article, this cover from the Spectator. Is NATO ready, it says. It has a guy in a tank about to throw a snowball. And it says, Max Jeffrey reports from Estonia's front line. Is NATO ready for war with Russia? Are they ready? Anyway, love is in the air in Paris, France. Where else? The city of romance. Alex Soros, the son of George Soros. It looks like him and Uba, what's her name? Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's right-hand right-hand woman. It looks like they are in a relationship. They are dating. And they announced this to the world from France. A Valentine's Day photo. I think it was posted on Instagram, Paris, France. Huma Abedin sitting with Alex Soros. From disclose.tv, Huma Abedin is dating billionaire George Soros' son. The longtime aide to Hillary Clinton appeared to take her romance public on Wednesday when she shared a photo of herself and Alex enjoying a Valentine's Day date at a restaurant in Paris. So Huma was married to Anthony Weiner. Anthony Weiner, the guy that sent his wiener on Twitter. Didn't he send a photo of his wiener on social media? That was who Abedin was married to. And so she divorced Weiner, who was photographing his wiener, and now she's dating Alex Soros. I was going to say something related to wieners, but now I won't go there. I'll leave Alex Soros alone for now. Anyway, that is the video. That is the clown world. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop, 15% off all t-shirts. And I'm wearing my Duran sweatshirt today. Do we have time to go in? We'll end the video there. Take care.